I invite you, Your Excellency, to kindly grace the stage with your presence. Okay. And we would like to begin the proceedings by lighting the ceremonial lamp, also inviting for the lamp lighting our special guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India. Guest of honor, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, AVSM VM, Director General, Inspection and Safety. Air Marshal Surat Singh, AVSM VM VSM, Director General Air Operations. Mr. Hazem Moakkit, Vice President Spectrum Intelsat. Dr. Subba Pavuluri, President SIA-India, and Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-India. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, we begin every auspicious occasion by lighting the ceremonial lamp, invoking the gods and goddesses, seeking their blessings to guide and bless us for the success of our endeavors.
Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvikhanam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakari Sarvada.
May I request for a group photograph? Excellency, may I request for a group photograph, sir? With the lamp, in front of the lamp, ceremonial lamp. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for that ceremonial inauguration of Day 3 of India Space Congress 2023. Thank you. I would now request His Excellencies and dignitaries to kindly grace the stage with their august presence. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, as a mark of respect for our great nation, may I request everybody to kindly rise for the national anthem.
Janagana Mana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Jaladhi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashish Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Gatha Jana Gana Mangala Dayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He.
Thank you. Kindly be seated. Namaskar and good morning. Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Dr. Babu Kambhampati, Honorable Governor of Mizoram. Special Guest of Honor, His Excellency Mr. Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India. Our Guests of Honor, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, AVSM VM, Director General, Inspection and Safety. Air Marshal Surat Singh, AVSM VM VSM, Director General Air Operations. Mr. Hazem Moakkit, Vice President Spectrum Intelsat. Eminent dignitaries on the dais, special invitees, senior government officials, distinguished panelists, speakers and participants. Ladies and gentlemen, A very warm welcome to the inaugural session of Day 3 of India Space Congress 2023 on leveraging space to power next-gen communications and businesses, which is being organized by the SETCOM Industry Association, SIA-India, and India Space Congress, supported by Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, Department of Telecommunications, Ministry of Communications, Government of India, Department of Defense Production, Ministry of Defense, Government of India, Niti Aayog, National Institute of Advanced Studies, NIAS, Research and Information System for Developing Countries, RIS, India Post, and New Space India Limited, NSIL. Ladies and gentlemen, the august presence of eminent dignitaries and excellencies is a source of inspiration for all of us. I would now request Dr. Subba Pavuluri, President SIA-India, to kindly do the honors of welcoming our eminent guests with floral bouquets and a shawl. We welcome His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Mizoram. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We welcome our special guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India. A very warm welcome to you, Your Excellency. We welcome our guests of honor, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, AVSM VM, Director General Inspection and Safety. Warm welcome to you, sir. We welcome Air Marshal Surat Singh, AVSM VM, VSM, Director General Air Operations. Warm welcome to you, sir. We welcome our eminent keynote speaker, Mr. Hazem Moakkit, Vice President Spectrum, Intelsat. Thank you, Dr. Subba for doing the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Subba Pavuluri is the president of SIA-India, is the CMD of Anant Technologies Limited, ATL. He founded Anant Technologies in 1993, which is the first private industry to set up assembly, integration and testing facilities for satellites launch vehicles in India. Dr. Rao is a technologist and an entrepreneur with extensive experience in Indian space program, ISRO, for over 4 decades. And I now have the privilege in inviting Dr. Subba Pavuluri to kindly begin the proceedings with his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar and good morning. His Excellency Dr. Haribabu Garu, the Governor of Mizoram, and His Excellency Mr. Inaugural, Ambassador of Israel to India, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoorji, AVSM VM Director General Inspection and Safety, Air Marshal Surat Singh, AVM VM VSM Director General Air Operations, Mr. Hazem, Moakkit, Vice President Spectrum Strategy, Intelsat, Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-India, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from media. We welcome to the third and final day of the Space Congress 2023. And I'm glad to see the hall being full even on the third day. That only shows the kind of innovative thinking that the space-faring youngsters have these days. Today I have the honor of addressing you alongside our esteemed chief guest, His Excellency Dr. Haribabu Kambhampati Garu, the Governor of Mizoram, whose visionary leadership, incidentally, I think I would like to tell you that he was also a professor of electrical engineering in the Andhra University. And the politics are incidental for him. Governor of Mizoram, and whose visionary leadership has been instrumental in harnessing the power of space technology for the progress and development of Mizoram state. I would like to acknowledge our special guest of honor, Air Marshal Surat Singh Ji, AVSM, VSM, Director General Air Operations, and our distinguished keynote speaker, Ms. Moakkit, VP Spectrum Strategy at Intelsat. Before we delve into the sessions for today, I would like to share with you the significant strides Mizoram has made in harnessing the space technology for the betterment of Mizoram state and its people. The Mizoram State Remote Sensing Center, in collaboration with esteemed organizations such as ISRO and the Northeastern Space Application Center, that is called NESAC, has spearheaded several projects that have left a lasting impact on our betterment of the society. Though the utilization of satellite remote sensing and its JS applications, technologies for various technologies for Mizoram has made remarkable progress in various sectors. For instance, in the field of disaster management, these technologies have enabled us to predict and monitor natural calamities such as landslides, floods, and forest fires. The real-time data provided by satellite has empowered us to take timely and proactive measures to safeguard our communities and mitigate the impact of several events. Furthermore, the satellite-based mapping and surveying have revolutionized urban planning and land use management in Mizoram. And of course, we're dealing with various terrains and resources. And very sustainable development practices have been being practiced in Mizoram under the guidance of the Honorable Governor, Professor Babu Garu. In the agriculture sector too, the satellite technology has played a pivotal role in optimizing crop monitoring and resources management. Farmers in Mizoram now have access to real-time information on soil moisture, wealth patterns, and crop health, allowing them to make informed decisions and enhance their productivity. This has not only improved agricultural practices, but has also contributed to the overall well-being and economic prosperity of farming communities in Mizoram. Moreover, Mizoram has leveraged space technology to enhance our communication and connectivity. The various connectivity infrastructure have been built in Mizoram. By utilizing satellite-based communication systems, we have been trying to overcome geographical barriers and connecting remote and unserved areas, thereby bridging the digital divide and fostering inclusivity in Mizoram state. There are just a few examples, in fact, very more, but we have quoted very few examples, how Mizoram has embraced and harnessed space technology to address the unique challenges and opportunities we face. The collaboration between MIRSAC, ISRO, and NESAC, and other esteemed organizations have been instrumental in driving innovation, fostering sustainable development, and improving the quality of life for our people. During the sessions today, we will be exploring various topics such as civil-military fusion, SATCOM on the move, innovative approaches for insurance to space sector. This is the first of its kind in the country for new space. Applications, various applications enabled by satellite PNT capability, satellite-based video distribution, and advancements in propulsion systems. I encourage each and every one of you to actively participate in these discussions and share your insights and foster collaborations. Together, let's push the boundaries of space technology, inspire new innovations, and create a better future for all of us. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a very fruitful, inspiring final day at the Indian Space Congress 2023. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for those warm words of welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, I now have the proud privilege in inviting our eminent keynote speaker, Mr. Hazem Moakkit, Vice President, Spectrum Intelsat, for the keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once again to welcome our keynote speaker.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your invitation. I really appreciate being here. I feel truly honored and humbled to be invited to deliver this address here in India before my esteemed colleagues. There is really much to celebrate, such as the imminent mission to the moon, but there are also looming threats to the lifeblood of the satellite sector that we cannot ignore, as I will discuss in my speech. No doubt, the space industry is undergoing a massive transformation. This is a true statement, as can be readily seen by the innovation that is being brought forward by the private enterprises, big and small, across all sectors of the industry. There are new satellite operators, new launch providers, new satellite manufacturers, new in-orbit servicing vehicles. All are pushing the envelope and providing services that were unimaginable only a few years ago. Technology has brought space closer to our fingertips. We rely on space communications in our daily lives, but we don't even recognize it. And no doubt, India has a major role to play in all of this. With its long and proud history in space and its massive talent pool, not to mention the cross-industry convergence that is taking place, India is very well positioned not to only contribute massively to this growth, but also to become a hub for the growing space economy in Asia and indeed the world. The Indian government recognized this and it recognized that it has a big role to play in the space economy. And that was amply evident in the long-anticipated space policy that was released earlier this year. This is certainly a major step in the right direction to create the regulatory environment for space economy to grow and to flourish. Creating a business-friendly climate and implementing the right economic policies are the foundation for growth as they provide investors and innovators the assurance and confidence they need so that they can focus on what they do best. According to a recent article in the New York Times, there are at least 140 registered space tech startups in India. The article goes on to say that the space technology is one of India's most sought-after sector for venture capital investors. This is all music to the ears of innovators and investors alike. Harmonious music is enjoyable, but if there is this discordant note, it is jarring on the ear. So this leads me to another equally important key ingredient of the space economy, which is regulatory certainty, particularly when it comes to access to spectrum. Much like we need air to survive, the space industry needs spectrum for its very existence. Spectrum is the raw material that we use to build the space economy. We all agree that spectrum is a finite and rare resource, so putting it to its best and highest use is one of the primary objectives of every regulator around the world. Indeed, regulators are in an unenviable position, trying to balance different and often opposing imperatives. Fortunately, we can learn from the successes and mistakes of other regulators. We can learn what worked and what didn't work, and why. We don't have to reinvent the regulatory wheel, so to speak, but rather we should use this collective wisdom to inform ourselves and get ahead. And this brings me to my favorite topic, spectrum allocation. As our lives become more and more intertwined with wireless technology, whether it's satellite or terrestrial, demand for spectrum is not slowing down, but is poised to soar. This is certainly the case in India, where the demand for spectrum for 5G is proving to be almost insatiable. You will all be familiar with the two giants in India, Reliance Jio and Bharti, who are fierce competitors. While this competition is generally good for society, this fierce competition among giants is putting tremendous pressure on the regulators charged with making spectrum allocation decisions. Typically, regulators rely on two main methods to allocate spectrum. The first is through an administrative process, whereby spectrum is allocated to a particular application or applications by decree. And the other method is by means of an auction or a beauty contest. And the purpose of that is to identify a single winner that can benefit from the auction spectrum. In the broad sense, the objectives of spectrum allocation, irrespective of the method used, are usually the same. And that is economic efficiency, maintenance of downstream competition in the industry, and maximization of the overall benefit to society. Spectrum allocated by the administrative process is typically used by non-rivalrous applications that can share spectrum with multiple homogeneous users. On the other hand, applications that require exclusive access to spectrum, such as mobile, rely on auctions or beauty contests. These two methods are tried and tested by regulators the world over. In India, however, there has been an oversimplification by some who repeat the mantra that auctions are the one and only tool for allocating spectrum. They justify this concept by saying that it has been mandated by the Supreme Court. However, even though they say that the auctions are the be-all and end-all method that must be used for all spectrum allocations decisions, this is a rule that they apply selectively. It is clear, for example, that they will never advocate for auctions to be used in allocating spectrum that is used for certain types of shared spectrum, such as Wi-Fi, medical devices, or even microwave ovens. Somehow, the rule gets applied only to satellite spectrum. Such approach, in our opinion, is an oversimplification of how spectrum is allocated, and totally forgoes important factors as to how spectrum will be used: economic profiles, geopolitical factors, global harmonization, etc. It also forgoes the fact that satellite and mobile technologies are not fungible. Nonetheless, let's examine this idea. Let's stress test it. Let's assume that the satellite spectrum is allocated by auction rather by an administrative process. Let's examine this approach from three different angles: from the regulator perspective, from the satellite operator's perspective, and from the consumer perspective. Once it has been decided that auctions should be held, the primary objective of the regulator is to make sure that they run a successful auction. The key metrics for a successful auction are whether the product auctioned generates enough interest to attract serious bidders, and whether auctions will generate anticipated proceeds. If the regulator opts to run an auction amongst satellite operators only, it may be forced to constrain the number of bidders to create artificial scarcity, to drive up the demand. Given that satellites use spectrum in a non-rivalrous manner, creating artificial scarcity will diminish competition, and the consumer will ultimately pay a higher price for services, which is certainly not the desired outcome. If the regulator doesn't limit the number of bidders, then there will be no scarcity, demand will go down, and the auction will fail. Again, not a good outcome. On the other hand, if the regulator decides to run an auction whereby both terrestrial and satellite compete for the same spectrum in the same auction, it will be practically impossible to come up with a reserve price that works for both sectors. For example, if the reserve price is set based on the financial capabilities of the satellite operators, the mobile operators will easily outbid the satellite operators. Conversely, if the reserve price is set based on the financial capability of the mobile operators, the satellite operators will be unable to bid. So, as can be seen, this will also result in a failed auction. Therefore, any plausible design for an auction for satellite spectrum above 3 gigahertz will result in market failure. From the satellite operator's perspective, An auction would unnecessarily and artificially decrease the number of possible satellite operators who can share the spectrum, resulting in decreased competition. Furthermore, without appropriate controls in place, a spectrum could be acquired for anti-competitive purposes. For instance, if downstream markets are uncompetitive or if market power has been gained by acquiring spectrum, the party with the greatest monetary ability will usurp a significant market share and may not be keen to dedicate such usage for the greatest social benefits. Bidders with anti-competitive motives may further seek to buy additional spectrum to create barriers to entry for new players into the market. Therefore, auctioning non-rivalrous spectrum will hurt competition among satellite operators and may in fact discourage would-be service providers from entering the Indian market. Competition can be protected through the right design of primary allocation processes, along with a policy that enables spectrum trading and liberalization so that competing suppliers can respond to changing circumstances over time and if new high-value uses emerge. While spectrum has a substantial economic value for the exchequer of the government, it is best practice to ensure that spectrum allocation is done with the intention to maximize the overall benefit to society and its citizens from spectrum-derived services. Any decision to boost revenues by selling access to market power without any consideration to the societal benefits of allocation would end up being welfare destructive, as the revenue would come at the expense of consumers and ultimately a lower tax base. I would like to conclude by saying that India is poised to be a force to be reckoned with in the growing space economy. But this cannot be achieved if access to spectrum is jeopardized by adopting spectrum allocation methods that put India at a disadvantage with respect to other countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the privilege in inviting our guest of honor, Air Marshal Surat Singh, AVSM, VSM, Director General Air Operations, to kindly address the August House. Let's put our hands together to welcome the General.
Good morning. His Excellency Dr. Babu Kambhampati, Honorable Governor of Mizoram. His Excellency Mr. Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, Mr. Hazem, Moakkit, Vice President Spectrum, Dr. Subba, Mr. Anil, Prakash, eminent guests, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning. Firstly, my compliments to the organizers for organizing an event which is so very pertinent and relevant in today's world. If you look back in 90s, Gulf War I, total duration of the war was 42 days. 39 days, the war took place in the air and space, and only 100 hours was spent on the land to claim victory. The 39 days which were utilized were primarily aimed at monitoring, controlling, softening the enemy, and shaping the battlefield. All these four elements are very, very critical and essential in any warfare scenario. And that probably was the birth of space domain in the aerial warfare. Space and cyber are the two newest domains to enter into the warfare, and last 3 decades have seen tremendous growth both in technology and capability, which most of the time is dual purpose and dual use. And these capabilities and technological advancements have changed the shape of battlefield today and what is likely to come tomorrow. From the military perspective, when you look at the technology in space domain, you are looking at the ISR, PNT, and communication as three major verticals in which we are looking at development. Simultaneously, you're also looking at, in the civil domain, capabilities to enhance your HADR capabilities, climate change monitoring, resource identification on Earth and sub-Earth, communication facilities, and infrastructure development. When you look at space as an air warrior, we in the Air Force believe it is a continuation of air into space. That aerial domain and space domain both are continuous. The physical properties and characteristics may differ, being atmosphere available and not available, but when you look at from doctrinal perspective and from concept perspective, the application of assets, the application of capabilities, and how we employ and how we use these domains for aerial warfare is very, very common. And in this domain, the threat is likely to be from space, which is going to be present in space, which is going to come through space, and it is going to be from space. And that is why in Air Force, the thought process of amalgamating the capabilities and utilizing and extending the space monitoring abilities is something we are looking at very, very seriously. Space situational awareness therefore becomes a very essential component of aerial or aerospace power. And in this regard, the Air Force is already looking at integrating the SSA into IACCS to make sure that we get a synergistic and amalgamated picture of the aerial warfare. From the national security perspective, if you look at and scan the environment around, we will realize that another neighbor has tremendous capability when you look at space domain. And we do have a wide gap in this capability. And this is where we as a nation, and IAF in particular, we need to look at developing these capabilities to ensure that the gap is minimized to the extent possible. And while working on this, a very close interaction between ISRO, IAF, and the private industry is very, very essential. And a lot of steps have been initiated and have been taken to ensure that there is a happy mix of the capability development in which the resource provisioning is from the private industry and development of the applications and utilization of the end product is by the services and by nation. The space policy which has been announced recently by Government of India is a well-timed and step in the right direction. And this should pave the way for the research and development and manufacturing for space domain capabilities in general. While looking at space capabilities, it will have to be a mix of both defensive and offensive capabilities. And in future, if you look at, as an Air Force, as an air warrior, we will looking at something the industry needs to look at: resilient communication, which is capable of operating in the cyber domain. That is something communication, exchange of data is very critical for every activity, especially in the OODA loop when we look at decision making, which has to be available. Persistent ISR with very good resolution is another factor that we as a service will look forward to. On-demand launch and capability of video on demand is additional capability we will have to look at. Alint comment data is something which has to be available on the move, because this is one activity which will give us a real-time intelligence available for the battlefield management. If you look at from the industrial perspective, probably miniaturization of the equipment is something which we will have to look forward in times to come. Both space in terms of volume and weight are going to be critical factors when you start launching these smaller satellites. And from that perspective, miniaturization of the capability. And another factor is the modular capabilities of the systems, where just the collection and collation of data, we need to leave it in space, and subsequent monitoring, management, and assessment or analysis and processing will have to be done on ground. If you look at the areas for leveraging space for national security point of view, there are a few points which I would like to bring out. One is spin-off technologies from the Indian space program to boost the other sectors of the industry. We need to involve more academic institutes, PSUs and industry for giving boost to our space program and generate more employment. Seeds for the same has been sowed in the form of Deaf Space Challenges initiative by the Government of India, which will be giving opportunities to the space industry and the new startups. Cooperation and agreements with other friendly countries for development of space programs and sharing of technologies, especially for the space situational awareness. Invest in space surveillance capability by installing long-range tracking radars and optical telescopes, and hardening of our space infrastructure, not only against cyber attacks by using quantum encryption, but also shielding from EMP and other space-based DWs. This is a domain which will going to pave a large way forward for the nation as such, for using the technology for leveraging our development, and specific for the armed forces and in IAF to make sure that we get to see and hear what the opponent is doing. And from this perspective, once again, thank you for inviting me here, and my compliments to the organizers for organizing an excellent event. The large presence of blue here indicates the interest and involvement of the Air Force towards space activities. So thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that insightful address. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege in inviting our special guest of honor, His Excellency Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India. Let's put our hands together to welcome His Excellency for his address.
Honorable Governor of Mizoram, dear special guests, dear friends, I'm humbled to be here with such a distinguished group of people, professionals in the field of space, in different aspects. I will speak a little bit about India and Israel in the field of space, and about India and Israel in general. So we are both ancient civilizations that our modern states were established more or less at the same time, 75 years ago. Our bilateral relations started relatively slow, but just last year we commemorated 30 years of full diplomatic relations, and what relations they are today. Historically, our relations were based mainly on the field of defense cooperation, mainly Israel selling at the time capabilities to India, but also on technology or agriculture technology and water technology, irrigation and such. If you look to that, the relations, I think that our strongest point of the relations is the people-to-people part of it. I'm, as you can see of my gray hair, I'm a veteran diplomat of many years, served in many countries, but in no place did I see such popular sympathy and support towards Israel and I see here in India, and this enables us really to work very strongly on cooperation rather than speaking of problems or issues. Since the historical visit of first Prime Minister Modi to Israel in 2017, and then the reciprocal visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu here a few months later in 2018, our relations were elevated to a strategic partnership. There is hardly today a field in which we don't cooperate. It's clear to everyone that the future of our relations is mainly in technology, and space was defined as one of the verticals where we have to work to put a lot of effort into. Both India and Israel are highly technological countries. Israel earned the name the startup nation, but India, beyond that, I think adds to the equation an immense capacity, manufacturing capacity, market size, and a big network of connections with countries around the world that can serve this business. India and Israel are also among the leading countries in the world in the field of space. Israel started its space activity in the early 60s, but the real step forward was at the late 80s when we launched our first satellite to space. IAI, which are present here today, had quite a significant part in the history of our industry, but also in the present, although today IAI is far from being alone because there are quite many companies in this field today. Our cooperation of India and Israel in space started in 2002 in an agreement between ISRO and the Israeli Space Agency. And in 2008, and I think that there are people here who were part of it, ISRO launched the first Israeli satellite, not the first Israeli, but first by Indian partner, first because there were a few to follow. And since then, our relations in the field of space are quite significant. I'm not sure that it's the place to go into everything. Not everything is public knowledge. I would say that on the formal side, in 2017, during the historic visit that I mentioned of Prime Minister Modi to Israel, a second space agreement was signed between our countries. And along the way, we signed more. The Technion in 2020 signed. The Technion is the Israeli MIT, signed here also agreements around space. So I think that the future in space, the cooperation in space is there, is very strong. Israel is trying also to introduce space as a topic to the I2U2. I2U2 is the forum that is part of the new architecture, I think, of the Middle East, where the members of this forum, the two I's are India and Israel, and the two U's are UAE and the US, and we do infrastructure projects together, and we are trying to introduce also collateral cooperation in the field of space. I will finish that, we are speaking of the good sides, but it's a good time to remember that there is a sad moment of our cooperation in space or working together. It's the Columbia disaster in 2003, where very symbolically, I guess, that an American from Indian origin, Chawla astronaut, and Ilan Ramon, our first astronaut, were both killed during this disaster. But I guess that this is part of the quest of faraway places. There is always a risk involved, and everyone is aware of that. But this is another, I think, connecting moment of our quest of the space together. So I'm very happy to be here, humbled, honored, and I know it's the third day. I understood that the two first days were very good. It seems that this session is very good, and I wish everyone success and enjoy the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Your Excellency, for your kind address. Ladies and gentlemen, our Honorable Chief Guest today, His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Mizoram. Before his appointment to the Governor of Mizoram, His Excellency Dr. Kambhampati Babu was elected as the Honorable Member of Legislative Assembly from Visakhapatnam 1 constituency in 1999 and was made the floor leader for the Bharatiya Janata Legislative Party, Andhra Pradesh in 2003. He was then elected as the President of Andhra Pradesh State BJP in 2014 and then became the Honorable Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha from Visakhapatnam during the 16th Lok Sabha. Prior to his appointment as the Honorable Governor of Mizoram, His Excellency Dr. Kambhampati Babu has held an important position as BJP National Executive Member from 2018 to 2021. By virtue of his hard work, His Excellency has quite remarkable achievements of being an eminent scholar as well as a successful lawmaker in his various capacities and key positions at the same time. And ladies and gentlemen, I now would like to invite His Excellency for the opening address. Please put your hands together to welcome.
special guest of honor for this session, His Excellency Mr. Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India, guest of honor, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, AVSM VM, DG Inspection and Safety, Air Marshal Surat Singh, AVSM, VM, VSM, DG Air Operations, Mr. Hazem Moakkit, Vice President Spectrum, Intelsat, Shri Subba Pavuluri, President Satcom Industry Association of India and Chairman Anant Technologies Limited, and dignitaries, delegates, dear friends. I take great pleasure in addressing this esteemed gathering at the India Space Congress 2023. This event serves as a platform to discuss the remarkable advancements and transformative potential of space technology in our nation's development journey. After 2 decades in the 21st century, technology has driven human activity beyond Earth at a rapid pace. A new space race is taking shape in which India is an active competitor. Private enterprises have become leading players in a field once considered as the domain of the government. Issues ranging from space mining and terraforming Mars are now being discussed. All the while, the threat of weaponizing and militarization of space has become a real prospect. It is in this context that I begin with the visit of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to the United States last month. On 21st June 2023, India became a signatory to the Artemis Accord during Honorable Prime Minister's visit to the US. The Artemis Accord reinforced the key obligations in the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. They established a practical set of principles to guide space exploration cooperation among nations, including those participating in NASA's Artemis program. At the signing ceremony, the NASA official praised the growth of partnership with India here on Earth and in space. The Indian ambassador too reiterated India's commitment to a peaceful use of outer space. Speaking about the occasion, Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh lauded India's quantum jump during the last 9 years, which has resulted in a country such as the USA seeking collaboration with us as an equal partner. He continued to state that there are virtually no restrictions and no technology denial by the US, and that we are in fact technologically capable today. Honorable Prime Minister himself commented that even sky is not the limit for cooperation with the US. The Artemis Accord envisions space exploration for the benefit of all humankind in line with our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The ISRO chairman has shared his belief that the Artemis Accord provide an opportunity for Indian industries working in the space sector to work with US companies. He stated that Indian companies with their cost effectiveness will be attractive in the US markets. It was announced during the visit that India and the US are collaborating for a joint mission to the International Space Station in 2024 and that NASA would provide advanced training to Indian astronauts. This is a welcome development as we continue to pursue our own Gaganyaan mission. It was also announced that ISRO and NASA are realizing a joint satellite mission called NISAR for Earth Science Studies. We may recall that ISRO-NASA cooperation had also resulted in the discovery of water molecules on the moon's surface by Chandrayaan-1. As I say this, I convey my best wishes for the successful launch of Chandrayaan-3. Here, I must applaud the success of our satellite launch vehicles. India has an enviable track record of successfully launching various Indian and foreign satellites as well as other missions such as the Mangalyaan mission. Dr. Jitendra Singh stated that ISRO has launched 385 foreign satellites from 34 countries and that almost 90% of this revenue has been generated in the last 9 years. On 15th February 2017, ISRO launched PSLV C-37 from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. The PSLV C-37 carried 104 satellites, which was then a world record. Of these, 101 were foreign satellites from the US, Kazakhstan, Israel, the Netherlands, UAE, and Switzerland. Such achievements have brought laurels to our country, and we all take pride in the fact that India is a part of the elite space club. I am delighted that our students are continuing to take interest in space. In particular, I was very happy to learn about the students of the Young Tinker Educational Foundation from Bhubaneswar, Odisha, who participated in this year's NASA Human Exploration Rover Challenge. Incidentally, they won the Social Media Award in the high school division at the event. It is my desire that their achievements should be further inspiration for students across the country. It is fitting that the land of Aryabhatta and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam continues to produce leaders in the field of space sciences. As the Governor of Mizoram, I would like to share a few words regarding our conference theme, Reimagining Space Sector for Empowering Socio-Economic Development in the context of my state. Mizoram, in spite of its various constraints, has embraced the power of technology and innovation to the best of its abilities. In this pursuit, space applications have played a pivotal role. The Mizoram Remote Sensing Application Center, in collaboration with esteemed ISRO and the Northeastern Space Application Center, NESAC, has spearheaded several projects. The projects include the preparation of land resources potential atlas for Lunglei district, diversification status mapping of Mizoram, and space-based information support for decentralized planning of whole Mizoram. Other achievements include the rice crop acreage estimation for Mizoram, hazard risk and vulnerability analysis of 8 district headquarters, and digital 3D terrain mapping and modeling of 8 districts of Mizoram. The involvement of ISRO in mapping and data sharing for developmental projects in the Northeast is a pioneering initiative. Through satellite imaging and other technology applications, ISRO has been instrumental in monitoring and geotagging numerous projects in Mizoram and the entire Northeast region. Northeastern Space Application Center, NESAC, established at Shillong under the joint initiative of Department of Space and Northeastern Council, NEC, has been a key partner in our journey of harnessing space technology for development. Its practical applications in agriculture and allied fields have yielded tangible benefits. NESAC's efforts have contributed to forest preservation by assessing forest fires and by protecting endangered wildlife through the study of changing land cover. Furthermore, NESAC has used satellite communication for telemedicine and teleeducation, enabling the delivery of healthcare and educational services to even the remotest corners of the state. It is also noteworthy that NESAC has played a crucial role in weather prediction, forecasting thunderstorms, lightning, and providing early flood warnings. Additionally, NESAC's support in urban planning has allowed to assess traffic congestion, property encroachments, and effectively map utilities and assets. I take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Government of India, the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region, ISRO, and NESAC for their unwavering support and commitment to the progress of Mizoram and the Northeastern region. As we gather here today, I urge all stakeholders to recognize the immense potential that space technology holds in furthering our developmental objectives. Let us continue to leverage its capabilities in diverse sectors such as agriculture, healthcare, transportation, disaster management, and beyond. By embracing innovation and technology, we can truly transform the entire nation. Looking ahead, I believe there is immense scope for further collaboration and exploration of space applications. Space technology can play a pivotal role in preserving and managing our natural resources. By utilizing satellite imagery and remote sensing techniques, we can ensure the sustainable management of our forests, monitor changes in land cover, and protect our fragile ecosystems. The application of space technology can revolutionize the sectors such as transportation and connectivity. By leveraging satellite-based navigation systems, we can enhance transportation infrastructure, facilitate efficient logistics, and bridge the connectivity gap between our towns and villages. In conclusion, I congratulate the SIA-India and all other stakeholders for successfully organizing this event. It is my wish that our deliberations will contribute to the growth of our country's capabilities in the space sector. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much indeed, Your Excellency, for your words of motivation. Thank you once again for being here with us today. I would now like to request our Honorable Chief Guest and eminent dignitaries on the stage to kindly do the honors of releasing the conference report of DefSat 2023. DefSat 2023 was India's first international defense and space conference and expo, which was being organized by SIA-India, supported by Niti Aayog, DDP, DRDO, ISRO, NIAS, and RIS. And let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, on the release of the conference report of DefSat 2023. Thank you very much indeed, sir. I would now request Dr. Subba Pavuluri to kindly do the honors of presenting a small token of gratitude and appreciation to our Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Mizoram. So we present you a small token of remembrance, a small memento of the Congress. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I now invite Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-India, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
His Excellency Dr. Babu Kambhampati, Honorable Governor of Mizoram, His Excellency Inaugural, Honorable Ambassador of Israel to India, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, Director General Inspection and Safety, Air Marshal Surat Singh, Director General Air Operation, Mr. Hazem Moakkit, our Honorable President, Dr. Subba Pavuluri. It is my great honor to place vote of thanks among these dignitaries and the August gathering. This is the final day of India Space Congress, and last 2 days a conglomerate of 600 delegates, 170 speakers, which is including today. There are 30 nationalities being represented. There are back-to-back sessions, 35 sessions, which have touched upon the whole gamut of the space ecosystem. And there is a last day, we are going to touch upon some very pertinent topics and thematic sessions. I hope you will be enjoying that. Sir, this is also, we have a presence of such dignitaries among this room. This is also honor to be, recognize their presence. And we like to show a person who's sitting in the audience, Dr. V.S. Hegde, who was CMD of Antariksh. That time, the first time India he's conceptualized and implemented foreign satellite launch. So let's give a big thanks to Dr. V.K. Hegde, who has really paved the way of future of ISRO, which they are accomplishing. Thank you, sir. We have a presence of Dr. C.T. Wong, who is the counselor in Taiwan Embassy here, and he has instrumental of getting 2 MOU with SIA-India signed, one with Italy and one with Industrialisation of Taiwan. Thank you, Dr. Wong. We have General Khandare here, and who has just moved out, and he is very much is inspiring us to do defense involvement, and we launched the report which we held in April 27 to 29 DAFSAT, and this is the report that has been released. So SIA-India is an association, is a membership organization. We are working very closely with privatization and private sector involvement in the space domain. And I'm very proud to say that private sector involvement in space sector in India is increasing day by day. There are more than 80% participation by the private sector in India. And our president's company, Anil Technology, have involved into 90 state satellite launch and close to about 70 launch vehicles. So Augmenting, there is about 50 top companies which are involved with ISRO on the launch. And so there's a great steward for the private sector involvement. And as His Excellency Governor have talked about, that there is a limitless provisions are being given by the government to take it forward. I think we are marching forward in the collaboration, and he has just touched upon the collaboration which we envisage in terms of the US-India collaboration. I think it is amount to growth. And His Excellency Israeli Ambassador to India has already talked about that we are cementing further Israeli cooperation with Indian industry, and I think it is remarkable for us, Indian industry, to go and collaborating not only Israel and US, but a number of countries. And Indian industry now stood very tall, they are mature, and they are poised to play a big role in the new space economies. And this is our belief, and we, Industry Association, are going forward to pursue this. This is going forward. Thank you, sir, for your presence and your kind presence. And we look forward to the vision which you have given to us, and we believe that your vision will going to be implemented by SIA-India operation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, before we close the proceedings of the opening session, I have an announcement to make. We are happy to announce the Space Generation and Advisory Council, based out of Vienna, gives a platform to students and young professionals to grow in the space industry. It has more than 25,000 members in 165 plus countries. They have 11 working groups focused on topics like commercial space, space exploration, space law and policy, space tech for Earth exploration, space medicine, and space safety and sustainability. Ms. Nidhi Vasaikar, the Asia Pacific Regional Partnerships Manager, is here with us today. May I invite you on the stage, ma'am? In collaboration with SIA-India, SGAC had conducted an Instagram contest. The participant had to create a video about their thoughts on how the Asia-Pacific region will grow in the space sector for the next 5 to 10 years. The winner received a registration scholarship to attend the ISC 2023. We have the winners here with us. We would like to introduce them to all of you. And they are our next-gen females, Namishka, Medonka, and Ruchira Hukkol. May I invite all the three dynamic ladies on the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for three of them. Congratulations to our winners, and thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Can you please join, ladies can join the dignitaries next to the Honorable Governor, His Excellency. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, let's once again applaud these dynamic women who are sharing the stage with our eminent dignitaries. I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, the presence of these women here on the stage is surely inspirational and motivational to all of us, because it is their hard work which has brought them here to be sharing the stage with such eminent dignitaries today. Once again, congratulations to each one of you. And may I request everybody to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, requesting everybody else to kindly remain in their seats while Excellencies and other dignitaries depart from the stage. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank the Excellencies and all our eminent dignitaries for being here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, requesting everybody to come.